Back here with you, DayTraderRockStar, live tonight. And just going to spend probably maybe half an hour to an hour looking at some stocks. I want to record part of the things that I think are important and send them out afterwards. One thing I wanted to do today is talk about 5 stocks that I wanted to buy going into the end of the year. Not knowing which way the market was going to go, but I'm more of a buy side guy. I still think that there's upside. I just feel like there's dangers out there. If it wasn't for this dangerous investigation, and a lot of people say that I'm putting too much into that, they can't touch the president. But I don't know. It just feels like these guys, they're doing something. There's an end game here, and the end game is probably the president. I mean, why not? What greatest historical feats these prosecutors want to do and stuff to bring down a president? So there's an end, you wonder how that's going to play out. I don't know. I mean, just seems like they could do something. And that's what I'm scared of. I haven't listened to the news. I can't stand it sometimes. But then again, when things get interesting, I do watch it, and I can watch all the different ones, CNN to Fox, back and forth, see the different perspective on things, how they're totally opposite and biased in their own right. I saw the market rally today. I didn't believe it one bit. I said I bought some SPY calls last week on the first flush, and it continued to flush. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't, I was willing to take that gamble buying into the weakness, but I wasn't going to do it again. I want to wait, really start to feel like, all right, this is overdone. I don't feel like it's overdone yet for some reason. It's just, and that's me. I'm more of the optimist in markets, and I feel like this thing could get down here. Now, I put a channel line down here, but you might not wondering where that came from. There should be another line on top, which you don't see. So what I want to do is I want to make this one a parallel line. I want to throw it up to the main pivot there, let it go down. You can see it actually goes perfectly there and perfect right there. So at that point, 1, 2, 3, that was what we call that 1, 2, 3 pivot. We came down into it. I was following this. There's underlying level of support. Came down and then ripped higher. And I believe this was a 60-minute divergence back at that point. I was almost positive. And we were able to catch that move trading. I remember we had SPY calls and stuff. And we caught some downside. I had SPY puts, and the market sold off, and I took them off. But then look what happened. It was incredible. I took it off way too early on this day. That's when we had our puts. Way too early, took it off, and then it's down another 200. Jesus, 100, another 100 points. I left so much on there. Now you got frustrated, saying, "All right, well now I'm not going to chase it," and then you find it all the way down here. Yeah, we got a good candle. Nice candle, possible divergence, but I think the news is out there that could get us down to this lower trend line. That would break us down through the February lows. February lows are coming in at 25.52 to 50 area. If we got to flush through that, this would be a target for me, this parallel trend line. That's just a what if. If that's just a, hey, Hail Mary, if we end up getting down there, I would definitely jump on all the calls I can, cheap, take a shot here into pain. That would be great. But we'll have to see what happens. Hard to believe that's going to go down there. I still think the economy's doing the best it's been doing. I mean, I heard something on the radio today, and it said it was two different bull markets. Sometimes the bull markets affect the markets and the big businesses. They don't affect the common people, and the other kind is it helps the entire economy in this. And they say that this one is helping the entire economy, I guess, jobs and all the focus on wages. I don't know, but it is hard to measure it all. It's hard to measure exactly, if that's true or not. There's a big trend line underneath us on the weekly. And that goes all the way out here 2011. That's 2012. That was the last real bump in the road we had. Well, maybe 2016, which was pretty much flat overall. And now we have our third bump. Well, look at this. Look at the weekly. Weekly's turning back up. Pretty decent little bounce there on the weekly. There's not enough study out there about the weekly. You know, you don't get this set up too much, like what you want to call it. I mean, can we pop on the weekly and then fail and get embedded? Sure, if there's bad news out there. But this market's only seen positive. You know, every time the weekly's gotten oversold, you could put lines in all down here. Anytime that this is on the weekly chart, anytime these stochastics here touch that red line, draw that line in. And most likely, well, the problem is here, this is 4 weeks before it starts moving up. But most likely, you're within 1 to 4 weeks of a rally. I would say that would be a good analogy. Hopefully, you're dead on, right on spot. You know, spot on, you have a nice reversal. It takes, you know, you just have to recognize that in this trade, and that's off to the races. And here we had back here. So what do we have here? We had a little bounce, but then we had a failure. So the first time I've seen a failure on this, other than maybe back here, we started to bounce and then failed before getting that full rotation. But most of the time you rotate, you move all the way back up. This is the first failure we've seen in a long time. Do I put a lot into that? It's really the first time I'm really looking at it right now with you. So I don't put too much into it. But it is there. And there's our little candle right down there. So I'm not fully confident yet in this bounce. I like to see something though, some kind of news event that kind of puts something to rest, either the trade or investigation. You know, one of those two things. Put it behind us, and then we're off to the races. Record the rest of this. Let me turn this down before YouTube tags me with playing copyrighted music. We'll take a look at GTX coming up, Fro. So what do we got here? A couple things. I was just looking up. I said, you know, I was thinking of the stocks in my head all day today. I said, all right, there's a few stocks out there that, you know, I want to hold longer than, you know, I feel like the volatility is a pain in the butt here. You know, it's great for, I guess, for the real short-term traders. But the swing traders, like I typically trade between a period of 3 to 5, 3 to 7 days. It gets very ugly and volatile. I mean, and you could lose a lot in 3 or 5, 7 days in this market. So, and you have to slow down on that. I had to slow down. You know, you don't want your options getting pushed out of the money too far if you're trading the options, and the same thing with stock. You just don't want your stock getting thrown away. So you might as well. And I said this today, is you know, you have to have the wind in your sail, kind of, unless you're a short seller, and this is a great environment. If you're a long seller, you're dealing with a lot of, you know, chop, and it's better to keep your powder dry until you feel the conditions favor your type of trading. You know, not to, you know, and I said, well, don't take that the wrong way. You know, you can make money in up markets and down markets, but you have to be more realistic than that. And you can't be just like, oh yeah, I can do anything. You have to really conquer your personality type. You have to, you know, it's easier said than done. You know, fear, and when you're dealing with money, buying into the weakness is hard to do unless you really feel comfortable and you really get a big flush. And that's what I'm trying to hold out for, because then I'll feel very comfortable getting in and giving myself some time. So I'm just, you know, trying to bide that time until we get some news that tells us kind of, like I said, we'll know it. We'll know it. Right now, I don't feel anything good about this market right now. GTX. So I wanted to find these stocks. Ooh, Garrett Motion. This is an auto parts store. It was an IPO in October. I never trade auto parts stores. I know it. AZO, AAP, AutoZone. I remember these things getting hit really bad back 2017. They got crushed, and I couldn't believe they were coming back. I remember, watching these stocks down here, seeing some good signals, not doing anything about it because I said, you know what? And I'm old school. I'm the old school person. I used to go get a windshield wiper at the auto parts store, or go get, whatever, change my oil when I was a kid. Your father would teach you how to crawl under there with the pan and do it. And I'd do all that, change the air filter. And back then, I could see, yeah, auto parts stores. So now, no, hell no. I don't even know what to touch in my truck. So I just never got into the auto part trade. I was like, I just don't see it. I don't want it. And yet it ran away, and I said, oh, there it went without me. This one, again, Garrett Motion. I don't know much about it, other than it's pretty organized selling here. I have a great idea. Let's go IPO. Well, yeah, Villager. All the mechanic shops use auto parts stores. You have to get it somewhere, so I understand that too. Well, I just can't wrap my. I'm not a auto guy, so I don't like trading autos or auto parts. Oh yeah. So what's the deal with this one? GTX. All right. Well, anyway, let's. So I was looking at a couple of things, and I was saying, what's my 5 stocks that I would like to be holding right now, knowing that the market has pulled back. The SPX here has pulled back nice. Say our golden areas down here. Say our golden areas down here at 2350, 2600. Talking about almost 300 points on the S&P. Worst case scenario. All right, we'll give it that. Worst case scenario, 300 point move down. I'm gonna put some damage in the market. But what are the 5 stocks that I like now in this position if the market does start to look good, interesting here? Now I do have, one of them is Coop, Coupa Software. I really paid attention to their earnings. They came out, they beat earnings. I actually I bought some stock holding into the earnings. It popped and dropped. I mean, it had great earnings and stuff, but it didn't hold. It sold off into earnings. Next day it popped back up. Next day it dropped back down. Today it popped back up. Look at this. I mean, this thing could give you a heart attack. I mean, these are big moves too. They're 5, 6, 7% moves. Anyway, so been tracking that one. Like to push my position on this a little. The earnings are behind it. They came out with some good earnings. Guidance was good. They upped their guidance. The market just wasn't favorable at the time. You could see it's fighting for its right to push higher. It really is. And ServiceNow, all I hear is great stuff about this ServiceNow. Another perfect flag holding above the 20-period moving average. I mean, just a great pattern in this environment. This thing wants to run higher. $200 is nothing on this stock. Actually, I'm writing it down right now because I'm getting in it. I've talked myself in this. This is an easy layup. It's consolidating very close to the highs. Everyone's talking great things about this stock, and it's not at the highs. And the market's been holding it back. It just hasn't run yet. So if you're looking for something to run, these are the strong ones. This is such a good company. I mean, it has a little inverted head and shoulders pattern. Be interesting to see tomorrow. I'll have to look at the options on this. I mean, I like that 200 mark. Let's see, maybe I have my option chain on here right now. I don't like the way this option chain works. All right, so I'm going to go out. First of all, what is the December monthly calls here? I mean January. The 200s. 6. I don't know how this thing is just like this. It's stupid. All right. December, January, 18. Weekly. Where's the monthly? That's the 18. All right. So we're looking at $10 to 200s at 381, going out to January. Right? January. Yeah. 381 by, well, that was the 300 last trade. There's not much volume on this, so they probably didn't even trade today on volume. That's why it's still there. The bid and ask is $1 higher. Nice going, Johnny. Way to pick those winners. But I'm telling you, it's just a cheaper way of looking at this one. Yeah, there's no trades going on in it. So 200's 320 by. Am I on the right one or am I on the puts now? Let me just go to the calls so I'm not messing up. All right, here we are. All right. Yeah. 420 to 460. Last trade was 381, but it ran. This is service now. 420. 52. Not the volume is, there's a little volume in that. The 200s, January. That's interesting. I like that. I like it. Anyway, I think that moves higher. So we got a couple here. We got the coupe. We got the service now. I hate it to be so generic on these. They're all probably in the same industry and stuff. And I was talking about Apple, Apple down here. It's, they're going to make an argument for the cash that this company holds. Back here when they were talking about, when they had this little head and shoulders pattern, I remember hearing something. They were still arguing that Apple was undervalued versus its peers and how it's labeled as a stock. So imagine that. That was in $230. Now it's $169. It's not. It seems like an obvious area down here. How far do you think it's going to go down? Maybe 150. I don't even think 150. Maybe 160. They're one acquisition away from, tearing this place up again, crushing everyone. Or one product away. They already have a loyal fan, client base or, a customer base. They got that. That's for sure. All they have to do is find some way to feed something else to them. Let's do, I have an idea. Let's do a watch. No, the watch is done. Let's do glasses. Well, Google did those. What's left? I'm telling you, the virtual reality, that's out there. And Apple Movies. I could see that. Apple Movies. So anyway, I like the Apple. I like the Apple down here. Here to 160. Even the top 150s. This area down here. You got to like it down here. Let's take a look at those options too. I have a feeling you're going to get a gap up tomorrow on this. I do remember seeing there is an upgrade after hours on this. A very big upgrade on this Apple. You want me to read it to you? Only if you ask, I will. Let me see if I could find it. Oh, I don't see it here now. Maybe it was on my Twitter feed. I saw something big on Apple. Anyway, like the Apple here, AAPL. So that gives us 3. I have 5 on my list down at this level. Now I was working on the Race car, Florida. Is that Florida race car? Cool. Welcome to the site. If I haven't said hi before, looks like a new name. Chart set up to display the options. TC2000 under the chart when you click on strike. You can select option on chart setup. All right, I'm gonna have to read into that. I'm gonna have to read into that. I'm not probably not familiar. If I go to charts here, no. All right, so I'm gonna have to read up. I don't want to waste your time trying to explain how to do that, but I see you mentioned something about it. But we got 3 good ones here, and I think there was a couple other ones. I mean, let's take a look at the square down here. It's not a divergence, but it is a nice starting to turn back up. We call a closing price divergence, where the closing price, this little flush here, came back and really proved its, proved itself. It should maybe not even be considered. And we talk about the closing areas, or the area that makes more sense as a stop. And you could see if that's equal to this candle and another candle, and this starts to turn up, you start to see that closing price. Pretend this candle wasn't even there, and it was kind of a double bottom divergence with this turning back up. It's not bad. I don't know if that's going to be number 4 or not. I'm kind of doing this with you right now. I know Costco's coming out with earnings or this week at one point. They still do it, Here. I had to start the video again, just because I want to talk about something kind of interesting. I'm going to do a scan on the TC2000. And the criteria for the scan is, I believe, and I just was working with it. Let me see if I could find it. Yeah, price history is above the 20-period moving average. Stochastics are holding above 30, I said. I wanted to hold above the 20, but I said the 30, hold above 30. So it gives us that basic flag. Now, there's other criteria I can put in there to really weed out a stronger trend. But like I said, this started giving me some good results, so I just left it. I never went back to it to tighten it up at all, because it doesn't, there's not many setups that they're going to fall into the setup. So if it just grabs the ones that are close, I'm happy with it. I'll weed it out with my eye. The only thing is these are not at all at 52-week highs or at all 1-year highs, which you like to see those flags at. Oh, Mr. Phalange. All right. You know what? I did turn on the YouTube. So let me turn off the YouTube and see if that goes, if you get a little bit better on your feed, all right? And then try refreshing. If you're on the YouTube feed listening, come over to DayTraderRockStar, and then you can pick up the show. I apologize, but sometimes I put too much bandwidth out, so we cut off all the limbs and keep the heart going. So, all right, so DayTraderRockStar. Let me turn off the YouTube, wherever it is. Let me find it. Is it good, Mr. Phalange? And there's someone else told me there's also another trick. But let's try this. I want to turn it off now. Again, YouTube, make your way over to DayTradingRadio.com. You're about to lose connection. All right, so I disconnected the YouTube. Let me know if that helps at all. I'm going to still go through this stuff like I was. All right, so back here, these are just stocks. I don't even know what kind of order they're in. What we want to do is put the highest price, go to the highest, down. All right, so here it is. Here's the criteria. Criteria is the stock, the price has to be closing above the 20-period moving average, which that's why it showed up, because the price closed right above the 20-period moving average, and the stochastics have to be above 30. And they're probably in TC2000. I didn't see how I could do a plot line of D, so it's probably using the K line. That's why, or it might be using the 14.3. I think it is. Anyway, it's above 30. We could adjust it and make it say rising through a point, you know. But I just wanted to get a visual update on flags. That's what my purpose was. I'm not looking for a buy signal or anything. I just want to see what is holding above the 20 and pulling back aggressively on the fast stochastics. That gives me my flags. And you can see this one looks pretty damn good. Pretty nice flag. Here's another one. CRVL. Phalanges. Well, Coop actually holding a kind of a, and this has, you know, it's not the type of flag that normally you want to get a good flag pull, but it does have a good pull. That's what she's, all right, we'll move on. ISCA here, nice flag. Nice flag here. Holding the 20-period moving average, pulled back. International Speedway. I don't know if that was a takeover or something. I don't know. Beacon. I don't know what this one is, but again, falls into the, you know, the criteria is there. Actually, look at the difference between the 9.3, which is the faster stochastic up on top, and the 14.3, and the pullback holding the 20. This actually looks quite nice. This is a roofing supply company. Now, what happened back here? I have to do a little research on that. You would have to do some research, because I'm not about to do that right now. So if you're interested in what made that pop, you might have to go look that up. BECN. Report back with your answer. Because it's almost a divergence too. It's definitely a double bottom divergence. Looks really good. Flag. It does look good. I want to put that down under a separate list. I'm not putting that in my best into the end of the year list, but I'm putting that as a pay attention to that tomorrow. That's a buyout. Oh man, you had an opportunity on that one. Beyond Spring and Company. I don't know what that is, but it does fall under the flag category. And then as we get lower down in price, we get into the Skid Row here of stocks. Canadian Solar. Yeah, I remember, Fro. I remember that Beacon play was a hurricane, but I don't remember when the hurricane was, to look it back. Canadian Solar. Let's just take a look at FSLR. See if that's holding. It has a similar wave action, but nothing with the price level. I have one that qualifies for an end of the year play. Yum Brands. Now Yum Brands should, well, no, it didn't pull back fast enough. That's why it didn't show up in the scan. But it is a nice flag, and that could be even a more positive flag is when it's not under 20, or it doesn't even get down there. It doesn't even rotate down. There's tremendous strength in this one. I want to write that down as a possibility. Another possibility is the waste management. Waste management. Good flag. Holding the 50-period moving average. Big reversal candle. Trading near the highs. Put that one there also for now. Let's see which one. It's one of my favorites. Haven't owned that in a long time. Been trying to catch a bottom of Schlumberger, but as you can see, that's harder to do than. I mean, right now looks like a good play on this. Maybe 39. This thing's crushed. That's the weekly. I like that one too. Even though that's a sucker's bet right there. We get a gap up tomorrow. We'll leave a little island reversal. We're good to go. How is the movie? All right, so I'm sorry for if you listen to the recording, you're hearing me cut in and out on the video. It's because I'm doing a live show too, and I'm just talking about show stories and BSing with the some of the members. So I just still letting you guys listen to that, and I just figured I'd give you guys, anybody listen to the video afterwards won't understand what's going on. Absolutely great movie. It takes place in one location. All right, so I'll probably watch it later. So look at this. These are 52-week highs. I also want to go over this last part of the chart here, and this is another consideration. You know, stocks that are trading higher.
Tradeometer, yes, you are not.
Ooh, overbought tradeometer moving back. That means the market's moving up. Now, I want to show you this, and if you don't have the tradeometer, you should consider this. If you were to look at this chart right here, where would you want to be long? And where would you want to be short? Well, I'll tell you where the long is showing. Let's take a look at the tradeometer. Let's see what the tradeometer is telling us to do. If we get it up on the screen here ever. All right, here. I'm going to bring it over. All right, take a look at that. We have that low. This area back here is nothing. I think that was. I don't know what that was, but this is once the market starts to get into that rhythm. These were very micro moves, but a very good buy signal. And then look, buy signal. We just had a sell signal in the Nasdaq, and again, look at the sell signal on the Dow all the way over here, where none of the other indexes gave a buy signal or sell signal at this point. The Dow coming in with a sell signal right there. Perfect. That's pretty good. So anyway, this is what the market looks like right now. So we'll start to move back up. We did hold off the lows. It did come all the way back down. All right, so in the middle of doing this scan here, so let's go through these real fast. These are 52-week highs. A lot of energy stocks. First, this is, what is this? First Energy, XL Energy. Here's Tribune Media Company here with a gap up. It must have been bought out. SolarWinds, wow. That was a recent IPO. SWI. I remember it being, I don't know if they reissued or what, but all of a sudden that thing popped recently. Again, WEC Energy Group. Kirkland Lake something. I'm not familiar with this one, Basic Materials, but also 52-week highs. Very strong. Again, all these are very strong. All energy stocks. Amazing, huh? Energy. There's a property trust. Equity Lifestyle Properties. A couple, well, interesting. Water Company. California Water Service Group. We talked about this one a couple weeks ago. Tight stocks. Now we're talking water stocks. CWT. Now, I believe it was insider buying that probably got us talking about this. Constellation Alpha Capital Corp. Excuse me. A sneaker. It's sneaking up. It's a creeper. This thing could creep. Imagine this thing just goes like this under the radar for like the whole year. It goes up to like $80 every day. No one realizes it. Someone just keeps on buying it. I mean, why not? All right, this is the video. Shutting down the video for now. Again, I guess those stocks definitely Coop, ServiceNow, Apple, Yum Brands, Waste Management, top 5 going into the end of the year. Really good stocks, but we are on to something. You might have missed the last part of the video. I had it off, but we'll see you in the markets. Let me just stop the video. Continue on with the show. All right, so I'm going to stop this now.